Hello everyone, and welcome to another beer review. Now today we're on a Scottish beer, and it's from the Orkney Brewery, and it's Puffin Tawny Ale. Ooh, there you go. I don't really know much about this beer. And probably most people watching think, well, he doesn't know much about any beer. But I'm here to give it a try. So yes, Puffin Tawny Ale. Apparently it's nutty, flavoursome, spicy. Now there's some spill on the back. I know what you think. Yes! Fucking yes! So the Puffin, or Tawny, as it's affectionately known in Orkney. Well, I'll definitely sleep better now, knowing that fact. So apparently they call it Tawny. There you go. Remember that, everyone? I'm sure it's going to be important in your life, and it might even save it. Right, anyway. Now, apparently, affectionately known in Orkney, brings a smile to the face of anyone lucky enough to see it. Also known as the Clown of the Sea. Seems to have many names for such a small bird. The Puffin is unmistakable seabird due to its comical appearance. Red and black eye markings with bright orange legs. Puffin is a burnished bronze beer with aromas of spices, sweet nutty malt and dark fruits. An inviting rich malt palate is balanced with notes of herbs and spicy fruitiness. Seems to be using the word spice a lot, and spicy. And I was like, ooh, spicy, ooh, spice, spice. See if it's not spicy. See if it's not spicy. Plus, do I want spicy beer? I know that Indians like to add spice, like garam masala and things like that to drink, especially soft drinks. They like to add it to add that kind of refreshing zing, but I don't think I really want that in my beer. But don't worry, I've got some pairing notes for this. Now, I don't know if this is true, but apparently this beer here, the Puffin, pairs really well with mild cheese, roast chicken, and pork. Well, there you go. I mean, seriously, do you need anything else in your life? I mean, I have basically sat there in the past thinking, although this roast chicken dinner is absolutely lovely, dear, it's something missing from it. It needs something just to kind of give it that boost, because it's just not quite there. And now I know. It's a bottle of this stuff. Seriously. I should have known that all along. Right, let's get this open before there's any more nonsense. Seriously. Oh my God. Roast chicken and pork. Mild cheese, for fuck's sake. Anyway. Right. Well, let's just hope that the contents of the bottle is better than the outside nonsense. Wasn't paying attention. My slipper's getting. But for the people in the podcast, it's a very clear kind of amber, kind of medium amber colour. I would say it's as dark as bronze. Bronze is usually a bit darker than that. So yes, I would say it's a kind of medium amber ale. But half finger head. Smell. It's a metallic smell off that. August 25, so it's definitely well in date. But yeah, I'm getting slightly kind of metallic, slightly kind of copper tones. It does. It's quite reminiscent of that kind of tense kind of smell. I'm not really getting malt. I'm not really getting hops. I'm just getting this kind of slightly kind of bittery metallic smell. That's the only aroma I'm getting. No, I'm not getting spicy. maybe a bit peppery, but no, I'm not even really. Not getting any nutty aromas. I'm getting getting none of that. So, right, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, roast chicken and fucking mild cheese. I'll be totally honest. You keep eating roast chicken or mild cheese, and if you're swigging this along with it, trust me, you're not going to know what you're fucking eating because you're not going to taste it. You know? I mean, pork, roast chicken, or mild cheese, these type of flavours will be lost in this because there's quite a good amount of hops in this. And yeah, you're not going to get away with more kind of lighter or delicate flavours. No chance. Well, I've got to say, there's certain breweries in Scotland that have discovered hops and seem to be having quite a good time with them. But yeah, there's a bitterness there, but the problem is it's a bit of a strange bitterness. It's not quite sour, but it's not a traditional bitterness either. And yeah, it's just giving me a. Yeah, it's kind of strange because it is lingering a bit, but it's kind of lingering kind of in the mid. So it's not in the roof of the mouth, it's not really right at the back of the throat. It's just kind of halfway up and it's just kind of sitting there and it's giving me a kind of strange sensation in the back of the mouth. And there is little hints of soapiness there as well. Yep. Back end of the mid tongue and into the aftertaste, there is like not a lot of soapiness, but it is there and you can detect it. But it's not overpowering, but it is there and it does kind of detract a bit. Malt wise, no. The malt is there and it's providing a nice little kind of sweetness, but it's really all hops. And it really is quite hoppy to the point is that we're not talking about citrusy hoppy, we're talking kind of more traditional hops is the flavours I'm getting coming through. But it's just so imbalanced on the hop front that it's overshadowing everything. I mean, really. It's not watery, so you know there's enough malt there. You're also getting a kind of nice kind of sweetness, but it's just malt. Hops everywhere. And it's quite sickening. Well, for me, from that point of view. And I don't mind hoppy beers and things like that, but like I've always says, there's got to be a kind of balance, and this is kind of lacking that balance. And you know that getting too much is when you're starting to get that kind of soapiness, that kind of fairy dish water kind of sensation, and really, you know, them dirty dishes. It's really not particularly pleasant. Overall, no. I mean, we'll break down the flavours, but just initially, it's kind of. And here's the thing: I don't even know if the craft beer fraternity would actually like this, because it is more of the traditional kind of hop flavours. I'm not saying that there isn't maybe some new world stuff in there, but the hop flavours that I'm getting are more kind of traditional kind of edge to them. And it does feel like somebody's tried to copy a kind of English ale and they maybe misread the recipe or things like that, and they've just, you know, put the wrong amount of hops in there, and it just is, it's just It's spoiling it, really. It is actually spoiling because it's just overpowered by these hops. So let's break down the flavours. Right, front of the mouth. Fucking hell. Right, you start getting a bit of malt just at the start of the mouth, but you're also, just as you're starting to get the malt, you're starting to get this kind of the soapy accent starting. And there's a sweetness there, which is lost in the mid tongue. Starts off not too bad, just with that little bit of malt you're getting at the front of the mouth, and you know this, and then the soapiness comes in, and then from then on, it's just soapiness and hops, really kind of. I'm not going to say sour hops, but I'm not going to say quite bitter either. There is a bitter edge to it, but with the soapiness and everything else, it just. Oh, maybe that's what they mean by spiciness or something like that, because there's that kind of coriander feel to it. Because obviously some people, coriander does that kind of give that kind of soapy sensation, and this is what I'm getting with this. But everything is lost, just basically halfway through this front of the mouth, just everything is just lost to the hops. So when it gets onto the mid tongue, it's really all hops. That sweetness is lost in it. Whatever malt flavours, they're just kind of lost in it. It's just hops and soapy accents with a slightly kind of bitter edge to them that just kind of grows and kind of matures into the aftertaste, and then it just kind of sits there and kind of lingers in the mouth a wee bit. And overall, it's not particularly pleasant. I can't imagine traditional beer drinkers would be sitting there thinking, "Oh, yep, this is right up my street." No, it's and it hasn't got that kind of refreshing edge to it that we get with more kind of New World hops, especially more citrus kind of flavoured ones. And you get that kind of slightly kind of refreshing kind of feel to it. You're not getting that with us. So that's why I'm thinking even some of the craft beer fraternity might not really go for this either, even though it is hoppy, it's just not giving you that kind of craft beer edge, that kind of zestiness, that kind of refreshing kind of feel to it. This is just no, it's just which is a shame because it could be a nice beer if they dialed back the hops a bit, but it's just no. The ratios are all wrong, just all wrong. Right. God. What would I give this out of 10? There's a question. I can't believe they would say go with mild cheese, roast chicken, or pork. Because I'm telling you that if you had this sitting next to you and you take a sip of that with your roast in, you think, fuck that, seriously, because it would spoil it. It really would. There you go. That's my culinary kind of advice for this evening. Um, seriously, but out of 10, what would I give it? God.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Shut the fuck up. And normality has been resumed. Aye, that's a crazy thing. I actually have given that a name, so it wouldn't do that. And it still bloody does it. But anyway, what would I give this out? 10. There's a question. For me, it's just, it's bordering on the undrinkable. It really is bordering on the undrinkable. I'm trying to drink it, and hopefully, but I think what's driving me is hopefully it's going to get better, or I'm going to get acclimatized and it's going to improve because of that. But it's not. And I like bitterness and everything else, but this is just, yeah, it's all over the place with that. So yeah, I'm going to have to give this a 3 out of 5. It really is bordering on the undrinkable, and I certainly wouldn't recommend it. It's like, no, something went wrong with that. No. Is it getting any better? It is actually getting a bit better. This is why I try and have, a good amount of the beer before I try and give a score and really kind of judge it, because my initial kind of judgment might obviously change as I go through it and the mouth gets more acclimatized to it. This is one that, they'll take a couple of sips and there you go, there's the number. It's so wonderful, it's great, or it's a load of piss. You can't really do that because sometimes it does take your mouth a bit of time to acclimatise to it. And what you initially would say at the start and go with at the start, later on down the glass, well, that might change. So yeah. It's not as soapy as it was initially, so that's kind of slightly died down a bit. My mouth has got more used to the hops, so again, it's not such a kind of culture shock to the palate. Still quite hoppy, but it's becoming a bit more drinkable. So it's that type of thing that the first half a pint, the first 250 ml of the first bottle is going to be wasted on your mouth, basically, really kind of getting used to it. And then you still have the lingering bit, which doesn't make it so pleasant. But yeah, it has kind of improved. So on that basis, I'm going to change my score. So instead of being a 3 out of 5, it's becoming a bit more drinkable. But the problem is you've got to get past that kind of initial kind of feeling and taste that you're going to get. So in that order, I give it. I still think it's below average because I still think it's a bit of a struggle to drink. And it does catch you in the throat a wee bit. Oh, that with mild cheese. Yeah. On that basis, what would I give it? Maybe give it. Okay, I'm going to give it a 4.5. It's improved a bit enough that it's still below average. I still probably wouldn't recommend it, and I certainly wouldn't buy it again for myself. But once you get past the initial thing, it is a bit more palatable and a bit more drinkable, although that kind of lingering kind of bitterness, almost sourness in the back of the mouth does kind of go against it. So it's 4.5 out of 10. It's a 500ml bottle. It's 4.5%. It's roughly about £2 a bottle. Yeah, it's overhopped. I wouldn't buy it again, and I wouldn't really recommend it. But if you really like strong hop beers, then give it a go. You might like it. Some of the craft fraternity might like it because it is really overhopped. So anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers, and bye for now.